Hello everyone, my name is Dare Sokani and I'm here with Malcolm and we're both from Revolver Games
Hello.
and today we're going to discuss our game Monstrum. And Monstrum is a pet simulation game and allows the player to look after numerous pets in different areas. You can feed them, clean them and put them to sleep. You can also pick up their poop. That's just the taking care part. We have mini games as well planned for the game. We'll not be showing that today, but we will be showing the base game off. So we're going to discuss a little bit about the history of the game.
Yeah.
Malcolm, if you want to talk about how we got the name.
Well, we started off. Must have been mid last year. Thinking about a small project that we can work on for maybe six months to a year, and we looked around for a few genres, and we found that a sort of pet simulation game would be pretty good for starting off as our first project. And the sort of game we were looking for was kind of taking care of monsters and stuff, and the Latin for monster is monstrum, and it just seemed to fit with our kind of style and the kind of game that we were wanting to make. So we kind of all just agreed that that would be what we'd use from then on.
Right. And we actually developed it for mobile as well. This is what the plan is for iOS and Android, and we hope to bring it to PC and Vita and consoles maybe down the line. But right now our main focus is iOS and Android.
Yeah.
We used to work on Unity. We worked with a previous programmer in Unity, but after the programmer left, we decided that we would move to Game Maker and start again, start from scratch. And here we are with Game Maker, and we ready to just show off our game ever since it's been in development for since February. Even though we started back in July, we got a new programmer in February, and this is essentially what he's been working on since we've been providing all the assets to him.
Yep.
So we got 4 members in our team, which is of course myself, which is the lead designer. We have Malcolm, who is the artist. We have Alex. He's from America, and we're based in Scotland. He is the programmer, and we have Gary, who is the composer.
Yep.
So what we're going to do is actually show off some gameplay video.
Yeah. I've got it up here. I'll just bring it up. This is the first pet that we created. We just call him the fluff pet, affectionately. And as you can see, this is kind of UI that we've got set up so you can take care of your pet, including washing, feeding, sleeping. It's got the environment indicator. You can, play with your pet and stroke them. This is the kind of base for the game. This is the main screen that you'll see your pets, and you can go to each pet will have a different sort of area in the background and where it can walk around in. Depending on what type of pet it is, it might be like a fire pet is in a sort of fire area, or a flying pet might be in the sort of wind area or something like that. So as you can see, he's got a fluff pet. He's a kind of ground, kind of earthy type monster. He's in a kind of grassy area. I can go to the map, and you can see that this is a placeholder image. Obviously, it's quite a just to show the purpose of the map and positioning pets around the sort of world that we've created. If I click on this pet here, you can see the rock pet comes up, and this is actually the area that you can see in the background of the fluff pet. I want to add sort of that sort of feeling that all the pets were connected in the same areas. So if you're a similar type pet, you'll be able to see the other pets sort of roaming around in the background, sort of thing. I'm just feeding him. He goes to the toilet by himself. We've got you can scroll over by just clicking and dragging and look around sort of area, and it'll automatically snap back to the pet.
Malcolm, what were your thoughts about making the art for the creatures, the pets in particular? Like, what was your process? Like, like you plan to have just cute
Well,
characters, or are you
I was
planning?
I mean, we wanted to make like sort of appeal to as many people as possible. So, so there's a pet for sort of every kind of person. You know, that's the kind of thing we're going for. So, anyone who plays the game will be able to find a pet that sort of suits them or they can relate to. Um, and that's the kind of idea. Like, you know, we've got a rock pet. It's quite hardy in it. Like, you know, he's quite stoic and hardy compared to like the fluff pet, for instance. If we bring a fluff pet back up, you see he's kind of cute and he's sort of happy-go-lucky. His all of the animations sort of reflect that. Um, you click on him, for instance, he rolls around and laughs, and you know when you like, it's just kind of everyone seems to like the fluff pet, but he has that kind of fluffy, cuddly pet that everyone seems to like. I've got another pet here in the fire area who is he's actually one of the first ones we designed. Very basic, but he is one of my favorites actually. Um, the
Can you tell us a
backgrounds.
wee bit about?
Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Oh,
Can you tell us a wee bit about the area,
yeah,
the
the
backgrounds and
backgrounds as well.
such?
Like the sort of the art style of the whole game is supposed to be kind of a cel shaded, kind of cartoony look, and I mean I've always liked that kind of style in games. And you know the first game I'm sort of lead artist on, I thought why not try and see what I can do with it. I mean it's not too complex, but it's also got that sort of it's got the ability to to put in quite a lot of effort and it starts looking really nice. Um, that's kind of what I was doing, and the backgrounds are it's kind of supposed to reflect the kind of the pets and their kind of types. Um,
So what's the process in going through when you're make these creatures? What kind of process do you do? Like, is it just a 3D model or?
oh right, yeah, when I'm creating the pets, I'll start off or just using a sketch pad, whatever, just pen and pencil, or just on GIMP or something like that. Just start sketching this sort of an idea, and I'll just develop it until I think this is a certain thing. I'll take it to a 3D modeling package and start creating it from there. Um, Usually I'll check with other team members and stuff first to make sure I'm not going away on a tangent with what I'm creating. But and everyone seems to like them, so so far that's kind of what I do. I end up creating the 3D model, but these aren't actually 3D models you're seeing here. These are renders, 2D renders of 3D models as 2D sprite sheets. Because originally, like Darius said earlier, we were using Unity, and we were using 3D models for that. But to be able to recycle the 3D models that I've already made, we decided to make the pets as 2D sprite sheets of 3D models, and it's actually worked really well. I think that it's given a really unique look to the game. Um, I'm quite happy how it's turned out.
What about the background areas? How are they made?
The same way, it's like we design areas on and really sort of low level like pen paper and take it to Blender again and create the whole areas. I mean Darius himself does a lot of that as well, and he created most of this fire area, um, and I just took it from him and added a few artistic touches to it to create the sort of background you see here. Same with the grass area. I'll just take it into Blender and then take a screenshot and sort of take it into GIMP and then add as much detail as I want. Right now the backgrounds you see here are static, but we are talking about getting some sort of flowing lava, bubbling lava, maybe dynamic skies that change over time from day to night cycles, etc. That's the kind of thing we want to add to these areas to make them feel really sort of alive.
We also have a musician who's created some of the music that you can hear in the background. Now we just want to let you guys know that this is a placeholder just now. It's not the final version of it. He put the music in together with sound effects just so that we could hear what the sound effects would sound like with the music. And I don't know if you would be able to hear it, but when Malcolm switches between the fluff pet to the fire pet, you can hear that the music actually changes to a different kind of tone. This might actually properly set up for this. We did originally test it out to see how it worked, Um, but yeah, that what we're planning to do is have two songs run in parallel with each other, and when you switch to a different area, a different biome, um,
Yeah,
music will
there's a
change to that kind
seamless,
of tone.
yeah, there's a completely seamless transition where you know, the music, the tracks are almost identical, but they're just using different sort of instruments and different levels. So when it changes from one to the other, it's a really nice effect it gives. Um,
Kind of like the theme based on where you are. So, if you listen to the fire one, it's kind of a bit dungy, a bit um, barren, and it takes a while to build up, and you can hear all the rocks and stuff crackling in the background. Whereas the grass area is kind of like nature, in general just now. Then, if say for instance, if we go to the water area and the to the air area, the music there will be reflective of those areas. So like water area will be kind of bubbly and kind of like what you expect when you hear music in games like Mario or something. When you go under water levels and stuff, you have that kind of aquatic music. So
yeah.
the same thing goes with the wind area as well. And we actually have some quite funny sound effects for each pet. Now we've got placeholder sounds which might actually be just working for one pet, but we hope to have like some individual sounds like action when you interact with the pet will make its own noise, so it has its own kind of voice, so to speak. We were thinking about for comedy reasons to like when it poops, it'll make maybe different sounds and stuff, just to add a wee bit of comical value to it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, the music's been really good. Gary Reed just recently joined us, and we talked for hours about a version of the game, and he's created some really great tracks, and we're really excited to keep on showing you what he's come up with. Um, as well, we've got Alex, who's a programmer who's been working tirelessly on programming the game. He's also working on another project, so he's kind of part time, and we just kind of landed him with a big bunch of assets and said, this is the design, so what we want, and it took a lot back and forth to make sure that he realised our vision. And he's actually came up with some great ideas and questioned our design, which is what we're really happy with. He's made some changes to the way that we see things as well. So he's definitely a great member to have on board. Um, we're now going to talk a wee bit about the phases and plans. Now we have multiple phases. This is actually phase one. Building the base game up. Essentially, you got the basic functions like feed, sleep, eat, environment button
Yeah.
up there.
We're trying
Where
to sort of,
one
yeah,
player poops.
this is the sort of setting up the base, ground level of our game, and we can build up. We can add more areas and more pets on top of this. And so far, that's what we've done, and it's getting we can definitely spread out from here and get more pets in and more content on top of what we've built.
Exactly. It's essentially because the programming is pretty much done in that sense, and for phase one at least, it means that when Malcolm's created an area, it's really easy for the programmer to just take the area and recreate the same kind of experience, but then change some of the variables so it's the pets are kind of individual in that sense. Some pets might eat or more often than other pets. That's not reflective of that right now, but actually the stats are they're sped up in comparison to what we would have it for the game. So we just have those stats in for quickness, but these stats will change your release. The other thing that we wanted to talk about was phase 2, which is what we're moving on to next, which is the mini games. Essentially what we're doing with mini games is we hope to create like at least 3 high quality mini games, possibly more. Just we'll see how time goes and how our first mini game goes. I mean, this is our first game, and we're creating more games inside a game, so we don't want to go for the standard kind of games that you usually see. With mini games, we wanted to create a nice mini game which
we want to make sure that it's more involving the pets and stuff like that. We've seen other games that are similar to ours where in the same genre, and they've got mini games inside. Yeah, it's great, but they are just literally games inside a game. We're trying to make it so you're playing with your pet. You're playing against your pet. You're playing as your pet, and it adds that whole sort of involvement and attachment you can make with certain pets. If you have your favourite pet, you can use him in the mini games. You can buy him items. You can, customize. You can, just do whatever you want with that pet, and you just have got a connection with that pet, or as many pets as you want. And that's the kind of thing that we're trying to, think separates our kind of pet game compared to, other kind of pet simulators out there on the same market.
Yeah, so as Malcolm says, that's essentially what we're aiming for. We hope that they got a good amount of replayability. They're fun, they're easy to pick up, but they got something unique about them as well. And we'll hope to share more information about that in the future, in future videos. With Phase 3, moving on to Phase 3, we come back to this kind of stage and look and see what ways we can improve the base game, essentially. So adding more depth to the pets, and reasons to why having the pets. We've thought this out, but we still need to come back and implement this.
Yeah.
And we wanted to see what happened with the mini games before we came back. And we were thinking about adding stats in, like
stat progression and leveling up, or something similar to stuff. A few RPG elements where you feel you can actually progress a pet. It's all well and good to make it love you and stuff, but what does that really do? What's the goal? What are you moving towards? And that's the kind of thing that Phase 3 is all about. We're thinking about that's polishing off like all the different parts of the game that will make it really fun to play and make it replayable and addictive and just good in general.
I mean, as Malcolm said earlier on as well, the dynamics of the game, we're hoping to have like scrolling skies and night cycle, maybe have weather effects. I mean, these are in talks just now, but it's definitely things that we have written out and planned for. So we hope to add a lot of dynamic there. When you're in the fire area, the camera might shake every so often. When the volcano looks like it's going to erupt, it'll look much more dynamic rather than just a still image when it's moving about. So it creates that kind of sense of this world is quite alive. And the other thing that could happen is you can see other pets in the background, and maybe even interact with them from a distance and snap to them. So yeah, we hope to share more plans in the future. As we move on to Phase 4, of course, it's just polish, see if we need more mini games. We'll be constantly testing with users, getting feedback. So if you stay to the end of the video, if you want to help out, with testing, just give us an email and we'll put that email at the end of the video or in the description. So the next thing we're going to talk about is what we'll be working on now. So essentially we'll be working on Phase 2 and kind of a hybrid between Phase 1 and Phase 2. Essentially the programmer will be working on Phase 2, programming the mini games, which I've already designed, and I'll be making placeholder images, waiting for Malcolm to add some more pets and more areas into the game. We plan to have at least 12 pets initially, but we plan to expand that with evolution.
I mean, the whole game is designed so we can expand on that. Because 12 isn't a huge number, and when we first designed the game, we were thinking like, oh, let's get 50 pets in, let's get 100 pets in. But we start off small, and we've designed it so that we can update it and add 5-10 pets at a time, or a couple of areas at a time, and update it as we go along. After it's released, depending on how popular the game is, we'll just continue releasing updates. Even if the game's not particularly popular, I'll definitely continue updating it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got something quite special, and it would be something that we're really proud of. And it's been really hard, it's the first game, but we plan to keep releasing more pets, more mini games, and more areas in the future. But right now we've got the four base pets. It's ground, air, fire,
water,
and
earth.
water.
Earth is ground.
So, yeah. So we got the four areas, and we're hoping that's what we'll be releasing as a base, or aim to release as a base. If we've got more time before release, we'll add in an additional area and additional pets. You can maybe find zombie pets.
Yeah, after that, we'll be more adventurous with the zombies and all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah,
So a release date that we're looking for is late 2014, maybe October. Around
yeah,
about that time.
definitely like
Quarter
probably
three.
quarter three, about maybe back end of quarter three. That's what we're kind of aiming for, hopefully.
And it's actually quite easy for us with Game Maker. Game Maker's a really great tool, and they recently got Vita support, so it means that it's quite easy for us to port games over to other platforms. Obviously, we need to, there's a difference between laying on a Vita mobile and playing on a PC. PC you got your mouse and keyboard, whereas you can use the touch on Vita, you can use the touch on my phone. So those wee things then will have to change. But we might release it all simultaneously, or we'll take maybe a few weeks in between each release and try and get it onto as many platforms as possible for you guys to enjoy. But right now, our main priority is getting it out on iOS and Android, making sure that the game fits inside it. And from there, and all the updates will be planned to release for all platforms that we bring it out for. But we plan to, show future videos after like phase two, after the first mini game we've created, and we'll see what you guys think. If anyone wants to give any feedback on YouTube with some comments, or if you want to drop us an email or anything like that, you can.
Yeah.
But that's really all much we have to really talk about, guys. And I don't know if Malcolm wants to say anything about the game.
That's. I mean, I'm really enjoying working on it, and I hope that anyone out there watching this video is like, gonna give us some support, and I hope they like what they've seen, and hopefully they pick up when it comes out.
Yeah, and a big thanks to Alex and Gary that are working with us. They can unfortunately be here for the video, but we'll plan to have them in future videos, talking about their different aspects of the
Um,
game.
yeah, just drop any emails at revolvergames@hotmail.com, and we'll respond like the same day or same hour usually. If anyone's got any questions or want to give us feedback, that's great.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks a lot, guys.